Alright guys, welcome back to Clav Bricks. Today we're going to be doing the beginning of a series of MOCs that are sort of strictly ruled but also have the freedom to be creatively changed as we go along. These are MOCs based on Spider-Man the Animated Series, a show that aired when I was younger but wasn't released when I was born, or it might have just been released as I was born, so I wasn't able to watch it till I was a little bit older. This show was one of my favourites, my all-time favourites. I've seen every single episode, and so I thought, why not make a whole bunch of MOCs for every single episode that I can, based off the show. So the constraints are, has to be inspired by Spider-Man Animated Series, whether that be a set, a scene, a character. It just has to be inspired by it. That's the first rule. The next one is it has to be within a 16 by 16 plate. The items can leave the plate, but I think I'm going to keep it constrained to the 16 by 16 because it gives just enough room that we can work with it without it being too big and also without it being too small. So this one is based off the first episode, The Night of the Lizard, and that sort of takes place around Spider-Man and Dr. Kurt Connors. Dr. Kurt Connors being Peter Parker's, I think, teacher at the time, or lab teacher at school. I'm not really sure what exactly the role was. I haven't watched the episode in a couple years. But Kurt Connors injects himself with a serum, I think, and then he uses the neogenic recombinator to alter his DNA to become the lizard, or it either retracts it back. I'm not really sure what the order is. However, we've got the neogenic recombinator here, and I did Kurt Connors as best as I could, just because I'm trying to upskill myself in minifigures. So with the items that BrickLink Studio has, it's not easy, and I'm not going to design them on any sort of design platform, because I think for the constraint of this, it needs to be part of the build for the scene to sort of make more sense. And then we've just got Spider-Man crawling on the wall. He had pretty much all the parts for the body, just not the head. The head, I think, is like a Deadpool or a Batman head, maybe? So we've gone with like a scene from a perspective for this one, which is why the web is sort of blocking it. So if you look at it from perspective, this is sort of the angle that you want to be viewing it from. You can see the mouse scurrying, you can see Spider-Man crawling, and you can see Kurt Connors shooting, which is why from this angle it sort of looks like he's shooting nothing, because from the perspective it doesn't really make any sense, and I understand that. That's totally fine. The other thing that doesn't make sense is the tail. Again, I had no idea how to do a tail with a minifigure of this size without it being a large-scale minifig, and I think they only had like the Hulk for these sort of minifigures in BrickLink Studio. I think the hardest part for me for doing this first one was learning how to set up a scene. Setting up a scene was definitely by far the hardest part. So by that I mean like it would be easy to just sort of leave Spider-Man on the wall, no web in front, no mouse scurrying, no pipe bursting, but I thought for the sake of the build I would include the pipe up the top with the burst pipe and the water coming out. The water being a flame. Doesn't really match the colour down here, but that's fine. And then the floating bits of cardboard. I'm not going to say anything else. It's cardboard, and I'll let your imagination run wild with that one. And then, yeah, just setting it up ready for Spider-Man and the lizard to sort of do battle. That was the hardest part for me, but I really enjoyed it. So I've got another one of these ready to go, and that's the Spider Slayer episode. I don't think I'm going to do more than one for some of those episodes, because some of them are two-parters, and they don't really need a second MOC for that episode. But for episodes based off the Venom saga, which involves Venom and Carnage, I think it's important that it would need to include more than one MOC for that. So for that reason, you may see a varying number of MOCs compared to episodes, but this is one of my favourite shows. So look, I'm happy to make as many MOCs as we can, and then maybe at the end we can get them all together and we can look over them and review them, although it also may not be possible. I may have moved on to something else by then, who knows? But for now, this was inspired by a build that I did on Madam Web. I don't think I'm going to show that. I think it's binned, unless I want to maybe do a behind-the-scenes footage thing one day. I'll bring it back and I'll show you guys what I sort of designed. It's not great, I'm going to be honest with you. I really needed the rules of the 16 by 16 and also a scene to sort of base it around and an idea. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.